Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiv narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudire नष्टप्राय सुभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम महापुराण की जय। तो आप सबका स्वागत है. Everybody is welcome in this session of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Today we are taking the 23rd shloka of the 12th chapter, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, first canto. I'll just because of the shortage of the time, मैं केवल एक बार श्लोक repeat करूँगा and then we'll go for translation and purport so that we may cover things in time. पितामह समासम्ये प्रसादे गिरीशोपमः आश्रय सर्वभूतानां यथा देवो रमाश्रया. Translation: this child will be like his grandfather Yudhishthira or Brahma in equanimity of mind. He will be munificent like the Lord of the Kailash hill, Shiva, and he'll be the resort of everyone, like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, who's even the shelter of the goddess of fortune. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Mental equanimity refers both to Maharaja Yudhishthira and to Brahma, the grandfather of all living beings. According to Sridhar Swami, the grandfather referred to is Brahma, but according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the grandfather is Maharaja Yudhishthira himself. But in both cases, the comparison is equally good because both of them are recognized representatives of the Supreme Lord. And thus both of them have to maintain mental equanimity, being engaged in welfare work for the living being. Any responsible executive agent at the top of administration has to tolerate different types of onslaughts from the very person for whom he works. Brahmaji was criticized even by the gopis, the highest perfectional devotees of the Lord. The gopis were dissatisfied with the work of Brahmaji because Lord Brahma, as a creator of this particular universe, created islets which obstructed their seeing Lord Krishna. They could not tolerate a moment's blinking of the eyes, for it kept them from seeing their beloved Lord Krishna. So what to speak of others who are naturally very critical of every action of a responsible man. Similarly, Maharaja Yudhishthira had to cross over many difficult situations created by his enemies, and he proved to be the most perfect maintainer of mental equanimity in all critical circumstances. Therefore, the example of both grandfathers for maintaining equanimity of mind is quite fitting. Lord Shiva is celebrated demigod who awards gifts to beggars. His name is therefore Ashutosh, or one who is pleased very easily. He is called the Bhutnath, or the Lord of common folk, who are mainly attached to him because of the munificent gifts, even without consideration of the after effects. Ravan was very attached to Lord Shiva, and by easily pleasing him, Ravan became so powerful that he wanted to challenge the authority of Lord Ram. Of course, Ravan was never helped by Lord Shiva when he fought with Ram, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Lord of Lord Shiva Shiva. To Vrakasur, Lord Shiva awarded a benediction which was not only awkward, but also disturbing. Vrakasur became empowered by the grace of Lord Shiva to vanish anyone's just a second, anyone's head simply by touching it. Although this was avoided by Lord Shiva, the cunning fellow wanted to make an experiment of the power by touching the head of Lord Shiva. Thus, the Lord has to take shelter of Vishnu to save himself from trouble, and the Lord Vishnu, by his illusionary potency, asked Vrikasur to make an experiment with his own head. The fellow did it and was finished himself, and so the world was saved from all sorts of trouble by such a cunning beggar of the demigods. The excellent point is that Lord Shiva never denies anyone any sort of gift. He is therefore the most generous, although sometimes some kind of a mistake is made. Rama means the goddess of fortune, and her shelter is Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is the maintainer of all living beings. There are innumerable living entities, not only in the surface of this planet, but also in other hundreds and thousands of planets. All of them are provided with all necessities of life for the progressive march towards the end of self-realization. But on the path of sense gratification, they are put into difficulty by the agency of Maya. The illusionary energy and so travel and so travel the path of a false plan of economic development. Such economic development is never successful because it is illusionary. These men are always after the mercy of the illusionary goddess of fortune, but they do not know that the goddess of fortune can live only under the protection of Vishnu. Without Vishnu, the goddess of fortune is an illusion. We should therefore seek the protection of Vishnu instead of directly seeking the protection of goddess of fortune. Only Vishnu and the devotees of Vishnu can give protection to all, and because Pariksit Maharaj was himself protected by Vishnu, it was quite possible for him to give complete protection to all who wanted to live under his rule. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshunmilitanena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yen Bhutale Swayam Rukadameham Tadati Supadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरे विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि वाञ्छाय कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे. So I'm very fortunate to be given an opportunity to speak to devotees from Damodar Desh and Sham Desh and other Desh, which where preaching is very difficult, but all of you devotees are really toiling hard for the benefit of Srila Prabhupada's mission. And I feel greatly honored to speak something from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, although my speaking is more or less like speaking of parrot. I like to become a parrot of Srila Prabhupada. What Prabhupada has spoken, that has to be heard, that has to be recited, that has to be learned. And by simply following Prabhupada's words, we can move ahead in the path of self-realization. So, thank you so much. And today's discussion is, as Shama Prabhu told us, that there should be a short Bhagavatam lecture, and then we'll be discussing more about Guru Tattva. I would like to combine both of the things because many of the points in this Bhagavatam, I feel, is connected with the Guru Tattva also and the nature of the spiritual master also. So here, the Brahmins and the astrologers are basically telling the qualities of Pariksit Maharaj, who will be present, or who I think was been born there. And the one more quality, very important quality, which has been told out here is what is present in Yudhishthira Maharaj and Brahmaji, and one quality in Lord Shiva, and one quality in the goddess of fortune. All these things, all these qualities will be present in this grandchild of Yudhishthira Maharaj, Pariksit Maharaj. So the first thing is mental equanimity. Such an important thing, which is also very important for our spiritual life. And since we are under a program of preaching activity of congregational chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and specifically delivering these Mahamantra to such ruffians and such fools of the material world who don't want to be associated with the holy name, who don't want to come under the tutelage of Vaishnavas and spiritual master or supreme lord. They are always averse to such a kind of activity, such a kind of program, to tell them about the holy name and to make them chant the holy name. It's such a difficult program, and to administer this dose to these people, it is definitely a very challenging work that has to be done by the devotees.